What's up, guys? Romine from Austin Training's here. Today we're in North Nashville. We're actually on the plot of land where my grandmother used to live. There was a house here. It's my grandmother on my mom's side. My mom and her 3 sisters, along with my grandmother, grew up here back in the 50s. This was a booming part of town. It was majority white, very affluent neighborhood. Over time, it started to degrade. But even though it started to degrade, this was always kind of like second home. Even though I didn't live here, we lived in another part of Nashville, we would always come together here. But I'm going to share a story with you about something that happened here when the whole family was together for Sunday dinner. Now, before I share that story, I want you to think about something. Are the tools in this story to blame, or are the people in this story to blame? In the 90s, we would always get together right here where the house used to be, and we'd have family dinner. We always got together every Sunday because we really valued family time. So it'd be aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. We'd always come over and we'd eat together. But one Sunday was different. So we're all in here chilling, having a great time. We just got through eating, and we hear, "Papa." So we turn and look at each other like, what was that? Then we hear, "Pa, pa, 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 pa." So my dad says, those are gunshots, everybody get down. So we already knew what time it was. I ran to my grandmother's room. Now, we called her Nanny. Now, she wasn't a nanny, but that's just what we called her. And her room was here at the front of the house. So if you're looking outside, it was like the front left side of the house. If you were facing the house from the street, it was like the front right side. But her bed was somewhere in this area. And I remember running and getting behind the bed, and I'm still hearing all these gunshots. So I kind of want to see what's going on. I'm 9 years old. So I lifted up so I could see what was going on, and I saw a guy. He was shooting at somebody else in this direction, but I couldn't see who he was shooting at. I could also see a woman who was standing over here in the street. She had on a wife beater, and she was arguing and yelling at some other lady who was over here. So the woman in the white tank top, wife beater, whatever, she was standing right here. And then she was arguing with some woman who came from this direction. Now the woman who came from this direction had a kitchen knife, and that knife was like this long. So she runs up on the girl who had the wife beater on, stabbed her in the neck, and she fell out right here. Now, I don't know who called 911. It might have been my parents, might have been somebody else, but I remember hearing somebody in the house call 911. Didn't matter. She bled out. She died. She died right there because, as we all know, when seconds count, police are just minutes away. So I was 9 when I saw all that. There were bullet holes in the house. There were bullet holes in her car, which was parked in this driveway. And I say all that to bring it back to my initial question. Who's at fault here? If you think about this scenario where you had people using guns and knives, is it the tools that are at fault, or is it the people that are at fault? And if you say the people, you're correct. The people wanted to commit extreme acts of violence, and they were going to do that regardless of the tools they had. It's not the tools' fault. You might say, oh, well, if they didn't have access to those tools, then they wouldn't have been inclined to commit those acts. Okay. Nanny kept 5 guns in the house. 5. House full of guns, house full of knives. We're always cooking, always having family dinner. Nobody was ever injured. Nobody was ever killed. Why? Well, number 1, because we value life. And number 2, we were raised in a manner in which we were taught how to conduct ourselves around weapons that were deemed potentially dangerous. The fact of the matter is, this stuff's been going on since the beginning of time, right? You got Cain and Abel. Ever since the beginning of mankind, people have been killing each other. That's never going to change. The tools might change, but the intentions stay the same. There's nothing new under the sun. So don't let somebody try to convince you to revoke your own right to self-defense because there are bad people out here doing bad things, because they're going to do those things anyway, and you can't legislate evil out of the hearts of men and women.